We're back in the village of Dunkeld for part 2 of our interview with former Scotland rugby player Rory Lamont. Last week Rory shared his powerful life story, revealing how he, despite all the fame, money and glamour of being an international sports star, his life crumbled in 2013. Rory's body was broken by countless injuries, 15 surgeries, and it was also poisoned by a decade of taking pharmaceutical drugs simply to keep playing rugby through the pain. When his career was over, Rory sank into a deep depression, and this was when all his childhood emotional trauma rose to the surface. With nowhere else to turn, Rory embarked on a path of healing through psychedelic plant medicines, including the African root bark iboga.
Iboga saved my life.
This week, Rory reveals how he then turned to the Amazonian plant medicine Ayahuasca, and then cleansed his body through a powerful frog poison, and then ultimately recovered his health, and he's now going down a new road in life that he never expected. Okay, Rory, so we went from one plant medicine, iboga. You moved on to another ayahuasca. Tell us about that.
So life is randomly. I was being interviewed by a BBC journalist, and he had seen some of the tweets I had made about psilocybin mushrooms on my Twitter feed, and he just kind of, at the end of like a sports interview, he just started speaking to me about his experience in Colombia with ayahuasca. Yeah, he mentioned that about these Colombian brothers that he'd drank ayahuasca with and had a really incredible experience, and that they would be running a ceremony and that I was welcome to join. It was in a teepee and it was pretty cold, and it was a big challenge, but it was, that first ceremony, I don't really remember too much about it. I just remember going through a lot of detoxification. My body at the time was not, I was still dealing with all sorts of health issues and was really underweight, but I was looking to continue my healing, and I was looking for any kind of natural medicine that could facilitate my healing. It didn't matter to me the legal status of whatever medicine would help me in my healing. My primary focus was to bring about my recovery. I didn't know a huge amount about it, but I was excited to connect with this medicine and see what it had to offer to me. And so it was January 2014, had my first ayahuasca ceremony, and a lot of detoxification. I remember being very cold during the ceremony and having a very challenging, physically challenging time, purging and a lot of big challenges, but at the end of the ceremony, having this beautiful energy, clear again, like iboga kind of brought me up into like clarity of mind, and it just had really cleansed me on a physical level, and my digestive system sort of in the days following had really improved, and my overall energy was a lot better. So I'd really, my first experience with ayahuasca was really more of a physical cleanse than anything on a spiritual or emotional level. Of course, these things are never really separate, but that's kind of really what I felt because it was the first. Well, that and iboga were the only two things that I'd experienced some significant healing with. I really felt a strong called to continue working with ayahuasca to see, wow, that's just one ceremony. How much, where can this take me? And a few months later, managing to arrange a journey to Colombia to go stay at this health retreat of these brothers who'd served me the medicine on my first ceremony. And I stayed with them for 6 weeks and did a lot of ceremonies and getting some deep, even further, deeper understanding of my life and of this reality of I guess a feeling of connection to something greater. I guess some people call it God, some call it Source, Mother Nature, life, yourself, whatever you want to label it as. There was a beauty flowing into me where I just felt a connection. I didn't feel so separate from the world anymore, and it was a really intense period, and my physical being was improving significantly along with it. We get taken into deep spaces and get taught so many new things, and our awareness grows, but we have to come back into the real world and integrate these experiences and make our adjustments to how we conduct ourselves, and let go of the habits and thought patterns that ultimately are harming us or holding us back from developing properly. Well, life was delivering lots of challenges, and ultimately that's when I ended up moving to Dunkeld. It just seemed like a beautiful space to bring about my healing. And I grew up not too far away from here when living in Scotland. My grandparents were just a few miles down the road, so kind of felt like a chance to return home. So this was the space. I kind of lived a bit like a recluse, but during this period I was just dedicating my life to healing my leg, healing my digestive system, and continue to heal my psyche, bring my emotions into balance, and started learning to meditate, which is something that the medicines, the plant medicines had really shown me the power of meditation, because they took me into a stillness within myself. So that's really where my inspiration start meditating was, and ended up connecting with the Heart Math Institute, and their teaching of a specific meditation, which is heart-brain coherence, which is it's a meditation with a specific breathing technique where you send your awareness into your heart space, and you change your breath rate to a count of 5 or 6 on the inhalation and 5 or 6 on the exhalation, and it basically creates a neural state where there's a strong connection between the heart and the brain, and it brings us into a much more optimal state of physiology. Obviously quietens the mind, but a whole hormonal state. Basically, the coherence technique takes you into the optimal physiological state where you can heal. It brings all 7 systems of the body into synchronicity, where everything's working together, and that's became a big part of my lifestyle here, and like this part of the world, whereas really I couldn't really do much. I was still struggling with my ankle, and still struggling with the digestive system, but integrating all this like new knowledge and bringing meditation into my life, and felt like the plant medicines and meditation just go hand in hand together, and the two combined was bringing me like into significant experiences of healing. Just being in nature here as well, connecting to the plants and to the forests, and just the quiet life is medicine in itself.
There's many people out there, Rory, who have experienced very similar things to you, maybe on a different life path, but emotional trauma, physical trauma, dependencies, and as a society we're chronic overdoers, we're constantly doing, and probably ignoring what I think's came through here is the state of being. What's your advice to anybody who might be sensing some of the things that you talked about and that you've came through and healed? What's your advice to them in terms of taking that first step on the path to healing? And that could be mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually.
Yeah. Well, there's so many different aspects. First of all, we have to be eating the right foods. We live in a pretty toxic world. There's a lot of environmental toxins that we're getting exposed to through our food, and there's a lot of inflammation from eating the wrong kind of food. So plenty of fruit and vegetables, and eating a balanced diet is, we are what we eat. So that's, it's very difficult to heal and bring balance to your life when you're bringing toxicity to the body. But for me, I believe there's a higher power, that we can tap into, and it doesn't matter what label you want to call it, but I believe that when we clean the body out, and it's kind of like, you can think of your body as like a bit of an antenna, a receiver, and that when we don't look after the body, it's like like toxicity and poor diet, and just we build up a bit of rust on the antenna, and then we feel disconnected. And this is a teaching from my Iboga that showed me that I'd poisoned my body, and basically my ability to receive energy from life had been really impaired, and that a big part of my journey was to do the physical detoxification. We have to cleanse. I believe, like, cleansing through food, cleansing through like sweating, exercise, sauna, all these kind of therapies that will liberate the body from toxicity. I feel that's really important, and it doesn't matter how much meditation we do. If we're dealing with toxicity in the body, we cannot feel good. And so a huge part of my healing journey has been learning how to eat properly, and how to cleanse the body, detoxify, remove the heavy metals, remove the pharmaceutical drugs that we've been exposed to, the pollutants in the tap water, that there's so many different sort of exposures that we get through our life. Cleansing and detoxifying is really important. Now, some people are more toxic than others and have more work. I poisoned my body through my rugby career, and ultimately the reason my health collapsed was because my liver was absolutely burdened by toxins. I created a toxic state in my body where my body just couldn't function anymore. My digestive system collapsed, because without a functional liver and decent bile production, your digestive system just will not function. So we need to really focus on getting the herbs and the plants that have really powerful medicinal effects. We need to bring those into us. And then once we're doing that work, obviously the other aspect is to allow time for rest, to allow time for peace, We have to make time where we stop all the action, where we have a chance to sit with ourselves, process the things that we've been suppressing. We like to stay busy, because the moment when we stop being busy, all the anxieties start coming up to the surface, and we try to push them back down, but ultimately that tension, psychological tension that we're carrying with us, will cause us illness and disease and reduce the quality of our life. Life made me stop. I got a broken leg, I couldn't walk, I couldn't go out drinking alcohol, meeting friends, I couldn't go out for dinner. I was literally just living my life. I was forced to sit, it's long periods sitting on the sofa, and forced to sit with myself and to look at my life and look at the pain, the anxieties that had been a burden to me all through my life. For me, the physical cleansing, the proper diet, clean water, and some kind of activity, of whether it's meditation or getting out into nature walks, getting into peaceful spaces, maybe getting away from so many people, being selective with who you spend time with. So if you know that when you are with this person or these people that you're going to slip into old behaviors that are going to do more harm to you. For me, for example, I had to stop socializing with a lot of my friends, because when I was with those people that I used to do my old things with, like drinking alcohol and going out and partying, and I just couldn't be whenever I would step into that field and connect with those people, there would be like a draw back into those old behaviors, and it would create a sense of tension within me. So I had to be really careful with like who I was spending time with, until I could learn to become absolutely centered in who I am. And that's a process that is still ongoing. If you know that you're with people that either exhibiting anger, or maybe not even wanting the best for you, or pulling you into drawing you into behaviors that aren't in your highest good, then we have to sometimes make the decision to just try to avoid stepping into those arenas, those spaces where we fall back into old patterns of behavior. So there's so many tools available to us. The plant medicines are obviously beautiful teachings, but we don't need those necessarily. I think the plant medicines are really good at showing us the way, but then we have to walk the way, and the way is just about learning to nurture yourself, and to dedicate time into your own healing, to make that a priority, to prioritize your own healing above anything else.
Kambo is a healing ritual used mainly in South America, although proponents use it across the world. It's named after the poisonous secretions of the giant monkey frog. It's applied into the human body by burns in the skin, and the venom is then applied in through those burns. The benefits of Kambo include the detoxification of the body, removing toxins, helping with issues such as anxiety and depression, and also providing mental clarity.
After all the work I'd done with Ayahuasca and Iboga, I was still having a lot of like physical issues, and Kambo had been mentioned a couple of times. So once And it was over a very short period of time that two different individuals had mentioned Kambo to me. And so, and they told me what Kambo was about, and I'd watched a couple of documentaries, and it's one of the most powerful cleansing medicines that we have available to us. And so, that's what I was called upon to connect with Kambo, and it was only last year that I had my first Kambo ceremony, and felt the power of that medicine, and it's just such a beautiful medicine with the physical cleansing, but also what it does for your mind, your psyche. It lifts, it can, the indigenous talk about it lifting panima, which is the panimas they refer to as a depression, a fog, where you're struggling through life, and it's, you might be experiencing a lot of bad luck, and you're just off balance. And I definitely experienced that with Kambo. It just felt like it just brings, well, for me, it just brought me into being aligned with my heart, and feeling more like my true self, and removing fear and anxiety, and a really beautiful medicine, and it brings a lot of energy to the body, and I see it as, for some people, medicines like iboga and ayahuasca are a little bit intimidating in the respect of the psychedelic aspect. There's a lot of people are kind of scared by the idea of being taken into different spaces of the psyche, of the mind, and whereas Kambo, while it's a very challenging experience on the physical, on the mind, it's maybe, there's no real psychedelic aspect to it. It's also legal in the UK, and I think I see it as a medicine that is readily accessible for people here in the UK, that can absolutely bring about a rapid transformation and well-being. Within one ceremony, someone's life can be transformed just with the gift of that medicine. And I think people in this part of the world are crying out for a medicine like Kambo that can bring a physical cleanse, but also lift us out of a fog or depression, lift us out of our anxiety, and give us the power to step courageously into a path forward, and live a more meaningful life, more life aligned with our passions and desires.
What does the future hold for you, Rory? You've been on this amazing journey of healing and transformation.
First of all, I will say that the collapse in my health and all the problems I experienced have been the greatest teaching of my life. The pain and suffering and the health issues, and I treat it as a gift from life, because I've had to readdress my conduct. I've had to change. I've had to evolve, and bring and live a more beautiful life, a more meaningful life, a more purposeful life. And so I want to take all the teachings I've received from the last few years, from the medicines, and from just everything I've experienced, and help anyone who's looking for assistance, you know, in the healing journey. So I've just been in the process of setting up a business as a health coach, and combining some of the most powerful therapies, natural therapies that I've discovered on my journey. So something I haven't mentioned in this conversation is some of the other treatments that I've used is sort of the sauna therapy and hyperbaric oxygen therapy and breath work, specifically the Wim Hof breath work. So I'm currently setting up a retreat at my home here in Highland, Perthshire, where it will be a space where we will be doing hyperbaric oxygen therapy, sauna therapy, breath work, cold water immersion, and utilizing healing nutrition, combining it all together. And this kind of protocol that I've created is one that I've used to bring about my physical healing to a state where I am now, feeling where I have beautiful, I have a stable, healthy energy, and my ankle is healed, and my digestive system is healed, and it's utilizing these protocols that I'm gonna offer to anyone who's maybe struggling, for anyone who's maybe exhausted all avenues with doctors and specialists and pharmaceutical drugs, but aren't experiencing the healing that they're seeking. Well, I want to offer to people another way, using these natural therapies that I believe are the truly healing medicines that will get into find the root of the problem of your health issues, and we'll start healing it from the source of the problem. I'm now at a stage where I've just taken all my experience and putting it to good use and helping others. I want to be in service to others, and I know there's so many people struggling with their health, and even if it's just whether it's a physical health issue or whether it's PTSD or depression or anxiety, the therapies that I will be offering resolves all these issues, and these therapies are backed by peer-reviewed science as well. So this is kind of maybe the difference between these therapies and some of the other alternative therapies out there, is that hyperbaric, sauna therapy, breathwork, meditation, these therapies have multiple peer-reviewed studies. It's absolutely backed by science to bring about healing, which I know in the UK is something that we all like to see the credentials of anything to give it validation. So I'm really looking forward to do my bit to be in service to others. We should be fully open for receiving guests within the next month, so it's going to be September time probably. It's the start of September. I think we'll be open to receive anyone who's looking for some healing or to just bring maybe a reset, a chance to recalibrate, restore the body, bring about sort of revitalize their life force, whatever it is. If you're just looking for any kind of upgrade to your health and well-being, your mind, you won't regret coming to this space that we'll be offering. We've set up an accommodation space, and everything's there in the one spot. So we'll be open to, ideally we'll be looking to bring people in for at least 1 week, because we'd like to give people enough time to integrate these therapies for them to have an effect, like a strong effect. But ultimately, within 2 or 3 days, for those who can't do a week, a 3 day retreat will also be an opportunity to receive the knowledge about nutrition, the power of breath work, and meditation, to bring these practices into your daily life. For anyone who's interested in coming, it doesn't have to be a week. You can receive a lot of the wisdom and a lot of the protocols that you can bring into your daily life just from experiencing it for a couple of days at the retreat. But also for those who have deeper issues, longer term physical ailments, they might want to stay a bit longer. For example, the hyperbaric and the sauna therapy, the longer you can give it, the faster the effect, the healing effect. These therapies, they change our genetic expression, they change our DNA for more optimal health. So they literally going in and restructuring our physiology and recalibrating the body. So you want to give them a chance to like take effect in the body.
So it's been a long, painful journey, but I imagine that you feel that it's been very necessary to get you on purpose.
Yeah, it was before this journey, my desire to be a professional rugby player and be successful and make it, to become a somebody in the world, that desire was really rooted in my low self-esteem. I think when you desire to be the best and to get to the top of whatever field it is, so that you have the prestige and the honor of being seen as someone significant, all that desire is always rooted in some kind of like pain or a sense of not being enough, not being valued enough. So that's, for me, that was very much the way I'd been living my life. I was looking for external validation to become happy. I was looking to try and get myself into a position of status and power, and then I'd be happy. But ultimately, all the material success and all my rugby career, I kind of achieved most of my dreams in rugby, a lot of what I desired through childhood, and I was still left feeling with that disconnection from life. And you're still, once my career finished, that lowest self-esteem came back, and there was still something missing. And it was really a connection to myself, connection into my heart, into coming into like an awareness of who I am, and that I am enough, and each one of us is enough, and we just need to release our false beliefs about who we are, and let go of the stories of who we are, and ultimately, once we can do that, we can peel away these layers of nonsense, these layers of belief. And once we can do that, we can come into deep peace, and we can be happier, more content, kinder, more generous, more loving individuals. And so I mean, by no means am I the finished article. I'm far from it. Every day I continue to work on myself, and I think that's ultimately what this journey, this painful experience that I've gone through has brought me to. It's been an absolute gift. It's been, I guess, my spiritual awakening. Life taught me in a very painful way how to connect to who I am, and let go of all the nonsense, all the difficult experiences, all the pain, all the sadness that I've grown up with, and these experiences come. We have a choice. We can be broken by these experiences, or we can grow from them. We can ask, what is the teaching? What aspect of my life do I need to review? What behaviors do I need to change? What thought patterns do I need to let go of for me to become a peaceful, happy being? So the way I navigate life now is with that attitude. Life continues to deliver big challenges, and I think we all can relate to that. I think we all experience these challenges, but ask what's the message? What can we do to change? What can we change within ourselves to grow? What is the teaching? And I think once we all learn to do this, we'll create a much more beautiful reality. I think this world will improve dramatically when the collective become more ingrained to the heart and treat life as just a continual teaching. It's like, what can we learn? That's always the question we need to ask. What can we learn from this experience?